Very disappointed. Obviously, one in the way we played, the result, and also the work at the breakdown, which, I think a penalty count, I think we gave away 11 at the breakdown. So that was a major part of the game and one we weren't happy with.
Yeah, it was a consistent that you couldn't get right throughout the game. Really, was it with the referee as well? You couldn't really get on his right.
Well, obviously, they did a lot of good work at the breakdown. Some of them I thought were justified. Others were, maybe a 50-50 call. So there were some that we felt that might have gone our way when we were defending, but didn't. So, yeah, it was just a tough day at the office at the breakdown, to be honest. But it didn't allow any flow for us. It didn't allow us to get into the game. So either they were very, very good in that area of the game or we weren't that flash with the ball. We'll obviously have a look at that because we must improve for the next game because we want to play with speed, we want to play with tempo, and when you don't get phases built, you don't play a lot of rugby.
It's been over 2 different periods, Wayne, but it's 4 defeats in a row now in the tournament. How do you stop this decline going into the new tournament, the Autumn Nations?
Yeah, it's certainly not lost on us. Probably the worst defeat, to be honest, in terms of the performance, I thought. Didn't really fire too many shots. So but we have to go away now and put a line in the sand. That is the end of the Six Nations for us. It's taken a long time, obviously. But now we've had the Autumn Cup. We've got 2 weeks to build into that, have a look our wounds and make sure that we come back and make an impression in that tournament, the right impression.
How do you think you adapted to conditions out there? Because obviously it was a very swirling wind. They played a part in the game.
Well, you saw that from both teams early on with the lineouts. I think the first couple were not straight. We started well in terms of working out an exit and then getting into their 22 with a penalty, and then they're not straight in the lineouts. So those sorts of things obviously don't help, but it was the same for both teams, and we saw that from both teams.
And not the result you would have wanted to mark the world record international caps of your captain, Alan Wynne-Jones?
No, certainly not. Whether it be the 140 odd caps that Alan Wynne's had or the first cap for Shane Lewis Hughes, it was and not for anyone involved. It's a very, very disappointing result for us. And as I say, we now have to regroup and get 2 weeks to get that result right for the Irish match.
And how is Justin Tipuric and how were Dan Bigger and Dylan Lewis, who obviously came off with injuries?
Yeah, Justin unfortunately came down 24 hours before with tonsillitis, so he's resting up and will obviously get himself right for the next fixture. Dan's he felt something in his lower back in the warm-up, I think, and got through just over half the game. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Obviously, he's not too comfortable at the moment, but and I think it was a rib injury for Dylan Lewis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Wayne, Beth ITV. Just one question from me. Athletes will naturally go back to what they know best under pressure. Do you feel that your players maybe have a mindset of how to get out of certain situations?
You got to factor in the conditions today. We knew there was going to be a lot of kicking. We actually felt or thought there might be a bit more rain. We did have a shower of rain through, which made the ball a bit greasy. So we knew there was going to be a lot more kicking. We wanted to tidy up our aerial game. I thought it was much better this week than it was against the French. And the defence in the first half was a lot tighter. So we had improved in a couple of areas. But I think, when Dan went off, we didn't quite look as organised, and I think we need to go back and have a look at that sort of last half hour of the game because it certainly wasn't our best.
Cheers, thanks.
Wayne, there's been a lot of talk in the build-up about the empty stadium and playing here internationally. Do you think Scotland perhaps handled that better than Wales did today?
Oh, look, I think both teams play in front of a big crowd. They play without a crowd. Certainly, the preference, if you asked any of the players, would be to play in front of a crowd. So it is different. But as I say, both teams have to play in that environment.
There was talk about trying to generate your own atmosphere and your own momentum in the camp. Do you think you were able to do that today?
Well, look, at half-time we were feeling pretty good. It wasn't a great half of rugby by either side, but it was certainly one where we competed in the areas, as I say, where we probably let ourselves down a week ago in Paris, which was under the contestable kicks and all the loose ball, where we didn't feature too well. I thought we were a lot better in that area today, and I thought defensively, at 7-6 at half-time, it was an arm wrestle as we thought it was going to be in those conditions. So we're pretty happy at half-time, but so we lost our way in that last half hour, and the breakdown is certainly something we'll look at.
With ball in hand, just give us an idea of what you were trying to do today, and perhaps why you weren't able to sort of implement your game plan as you might have liked.
Well, we wanted to play the game in their half. That would have been pretty evident in the first half. And in the second half, at times, we were moving ball when we still wanted to stay in the arm wrestle and play for the territory. I think the second half territory stats were about 70% in favour of Scotland. They won the game, simple as that. We both wanted the territory, and we weren't able to do it in that second half.
And just finally from me, obviously, it was a concern in Paris, and again today. How worried are you about the breakdown at the moment?
Yeah, well, last week it was in our favour, and the only disappointment was we didn't get yellow cards out of it. But this week was a complete reversal. So we did the same things during the week, worked on the same things. Obviously personnel slightly different in certain positions, but certainly we'll have to go and have a look at that to see how much of it was our inability to look after the ball when we took the ball into contact, and how good they were or how legal they were when they were defending.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Hi, Wayne. Will here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Will.
Yeah. So you've had obviously 6 matches now as the Wales head coach, and 5 of them have ended in defeat. Is this, at this point, a tougher job than you first imagined?
I don't think it's tougher than I imagined. It's there are fine margins, and we realise that. Certainly, at the moment, we're not playing consistently well over the 80 minutes. There has been change in some personnel, change in the way we want to do certain things, and we know that takes a bit of time. But today's game was one that we wouldn't put down to change causing the result. It's more around our inability to play in the last 30 minutes how we wanted to, and also, as I say, keep coming back to the breakdown killed us today. So this particular game, I think we would single out as one that we should not have lost.
You've got a couple of weeks now until that Ireland game away in Dublin in the new competition. How vital is it that you stop this run and get a win by hook or by crook in that one, just to sort of get a positive result and move on from what's happening at the moment?
Oh, look, it's very important. No matter where the win comes, how it comes, we need to start winning. There's no doubt about that. As winning builds momentum and confidence, it can have a reverse effect, and we don't want that to be around too much longer. So clearly we'll be working very, very hard, analysing this performance, making sure we work hard in the training field to get it right for the next game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Wayne, it's Alex here. Hopefully you can hear me. So Matt's alluded to the energy of the team, but it seemed like Scotland had far more about them, far more energy, both the reserves in the stands and on the field. Was that perhaps the most disappointing thing?
Look, it's something that we'll look at. We'll look at all aspects of our game, and that is how we prepare. And again, I thought we prepared reasonably well. You talk about energy in the grandstand. We talked about energy coming from within. That's on the field. So, as I say, the first half of the game, we came into the change rooms reasonably happy, and it was a simple plan in the second half to keep doing what we were doing in the first half. We're unable to do that, as we said, and that was disappointing.
And just last question then, you know what Welsh rugby like, 5 defeats, there's inevitably going to be pressure now. No smile. I mean, how do you react to that?
We do what coaches do, and that is we keep working very, very hard. We'll pull the game to bits. We'll look at how we went collectively as a team, as units, as forwards and backs. We'll look at individuals, and we'll make sure that we select a side that's hopefully fit and healthy, and we go out there and look to turn it around in the next fixture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. We'll leave Wayne there, and we'll be back shortly with Alan Wynne and then the mix.